This is probably the greatest fraud perpetrated on the state of Texas by any group ever.
Accusations of money laundering through lottery ticket sales. The new shift in policy that left lawmakers with more questions about the oversight at the Texas Lottery Commission.
Word of an extension for federal workers who were given an ultimatum. A look at the latest warnings from billionaire Elon Musk to employees.
Clear skies for now, but some thick fog could impact some of you during your commute. We'll show you how low the visibility could get before the sun comes back out.
Major changes are coming to the way millions of Texans play the lottery in our state. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jennifer Sanders.
I'm Daniel Marin. Today, the Texas Lottery Commission announced it will ban lottery courier services, which allow people to order tickets online or through an app. Now, this decision comes after pressure from state lawmakers who have concerns about the potential for money laundering and underage players buying tickets.
And this issue receiving the governor's attention as well. He announced the Texas Rangers will investigate recent jackpot wins. KXAN Sarah Alshay explains that lawmakers want to try and understand what was the commission's holdup.
I would love to have an answer to my question.
Hours of heated discussion about recent developments with the Texas Lottery.
I hear your words, but nothing explains what changed.
At the State Affairs Committee hearing on Monday, repeated questions about why the Texas Lottery Commission did not ban courier services sooner. The services allowed people to order tickets online or through an app.
You have consistently said you don't have the authority to do anything about the couriers. And you did it under oath last Wednesday at the Finance Committee hearing. What changed?
The commission says part of that decision came because of an $83 million Lotto Texas jackpot win through the app Jackpocket. It owns and operates this Austin-based retail store, Winner's Corner. Despite being located in an area with little foot traffic, they generated the most lottery ticket sales in 2023. IGT, the lottery operator in Texas, told senators the store had 47 machines, the most delivered to any one location. A typical convenience store only has one.
It wasn't 47 at once. They grew their business and the growing sales required the terminals. The lottery licenses these retailers and indicates to us that it is appropriate and in fact directs us to install terminals, provide the necessary supplies and equipment for these retailers to sell.
The Texas Rangers opened an investigation. Governor Greg Abbott announced the agency will also look into a $95 million jackpot win from April 2023, where a single entity bought almost every single combination of tickets.
This is probably the greatest fraud perpetrated on the state of Texas by any group ever.
The commission dropping a bombshell in the hearing that there was a second attempt to do this.
That group or someone substantially affiliated with that group was planning and preparing to buy a substantial number of tickets in December 2024. As soon as I found out about that, I instructed IGT to initiate an emergency code release, and I also went and briefed many of the members of Sunset and of State Affairs. I was in the Capitol for a significant amount of time on that day in December.
Now, as there's momentum to change and prevent these situations again, lawmakers ask how the commission plans to restore public confidence in the Texas Lottery.
I think it's going to be a long road. We have to make sure that we show the public that we're taking these actions to restore that public trust.
Sarah Alshay, KXAN News.
It is worth noting Senator Bob Hall introduced a bill to criminalize playing the lottery online. Now, as an initial step with the Lottery Commission's new policy, no retailer will be allowed to have more than 5 machines. And the commission says every terminal is registered on a system they can access, and that's part of how they exercise oversight.
Going in depth, all of this more or less started with the Sunset Advisory Commission's report over the summer, outlining some issues with the Texas Lottery Commission. Among the findings KXAN highlighted at the time include the state's Lottery Commission is insufficiently involved in its role, but it also found specific issues with overseeing charitable bingo operations, calling for significant improvements with auditing and inspecting licenses. But probably the biggest point from the Sunset Commission, despite all of the issues, the state does need the Lottery Commission They cited the record sales for the need for a regulatory arm and the problems that would happen trying to shift that burden onto other state agencies. New tonight, Elon Musk sent another email to federal employees saying they will get a second chance to recap their past week at work. On his social media platform X, he wrote, quote, "Subject to the discretion of the president, they will be given another chance. Failure to respond a second time will result in termination," end quote. Over the weekend, Musk sent an email to more than 2 million federal workers. He initially gave them until midnight tonight to summarize last week's work accomplishments in 5 bullet points, and those who fail to respond risk getting fired. But there was some confusion. Several agency heads are telling those same workers not to respond, including the Department of Justice. In a message, the Assistant Attorney General for Administration said because of the confidential and sensitive nature of the department's work, employees do not need to respond. A former federal prosecutor is critical of how this request is being handled.
The execution of this email was terrible and seems to have been sent out with almost no coordination from the actual agency heads who were appointed by this administration.
President Trump calls Musk's latest method to slash the federal government genius. Sources tell NBC News that the responses are expected to be fed into an artificial intelligence system, and the AI system will determine whether those jobs are necessary.
Taking you outside now, clear skies after a sunny afternoon, a clear evening. We're thinking this won't last forever, though. While clear skies show up on clouds and radar, look at what our computer models are suggesting for the visibility as we get into tomorrow morning, tracking the development of fairly widespread fog in our eastern counties, knocking visibility down to less than half a mile. And some of that fog and low cloudiness may actually get into parts of the Austin metro as well. Between about 10 and noon, though, the fog all clears away and we're sunny then the majority of the rest of the day. We do have dense fog advisories, though, for our eastern counties for the potential of visibility less than a quarter mile. This goes from 3 a.m. to 10 a.m. here tomorrow. We do expect overnight lows down to 46. Skies should stay clear until that early morning fog develops a few hours before sunrise. So coming up in first warning weather, we'll track the continued warmth over the next week, although impacted a little bit by a cold front that comes in on Thursday. However, rain may impact your weekend. We'll help you work around those plans and the rain involved.
Right, Nick, thank you very much. A measles outbreak in West Texas continues to spread. As of today, there are said to be at least 90 confirmed cases across the state. Most are still tied to Gaines County, that's southwest of Lubbock, which is being called the epicenter of the virus. And it may be spreading into Central Texas. An infected person traveling from Gaines County spent some time in San Marcos, San Antonio, and New Braunfels on Valentine's Day weekend. As a result, multiple health departments have reported measles exposures.
Measles virus can stay in the air in the room for up to 2 hours. And so even just being in the same room with someone who's sick, if you're not protected, could put you at risk.
And while vaccination rates are higher in Central Texas than in Gaines County, one medical expert told KXAN there is a good chance we could see cases here. And because we're committed to accuracy here at KXAN, we wanted to point out that in a report from over the weekend on the person who may have brought measles to Hays County, we said they were from Gainesville, Texas, but again, they are from Gaines County.
If you have any of those frozen supplemental shakes under the brands Lions Ready Care and Cisco Imperial, you might want to throw them away. The CDC and FDA says their products are being recalled after being tied to a nationwide deadly listeria outbreak, with cases here in Texas. 37 people have been taken to the hospital and 12 people have passed away. Some of the cases date back to 2018. CDC officials say that's because the germ can survive on surfaces for long periods of time. They also want people to clean their refrigerators and containers that may have touched the product. Symptoms to watch out for include fever, muscle aches, tiredness, headaches, confusion, and loss of balance. Listeria can be harmful to pregnant women and people 65 and older.
The Travis County District Attorney's Office tells KXAN it will put more systems in place and conduct a review after outcry over a murder suspect's release from jail.
And the review comes in response to the case against Stephen Morrison. He was originally in jail on an $800,000 bond for the October 2024 murder of Keyshawn Cage. Court records show a judge reduced the bond to $100. Morrison paid it and was released. The reduced bond happened because prosecutors missed a court deadline to indict Morrison within 90 days, and prosecutors indicted him on the 91st day. He's now back in custody after his bond was increased again. In a statement to KXAN, the Travis County DA's office wrote, quote, "Our office is currently conducting a review of all our in-custody cases to ensure that prosecutors are working to secure indictments both quickly and also responsibly." The office went on to say, quote, "While there are reasons a case may take longer than 90 days to present to the grand jury, including because of a lack of evidence, it is unacceptable for a case to remain unindicted due to a lack of care."
And the DA's response comes after State Senator Sarah Eckhart asked how many deadlines similar to Morrison's went without action. For more context on this case and how prosecutors missed that 90-day deadline, just go to this story over at KXAN.com. Austin Travis County EMS says it responded to more than 24 calls during last week's cold snap for people experiencing issues with the elements.
And as KXAN's Grace Reader explains, the city is consistently looking at how it can get more people into its overnight cold weather shelters.
Medics responded to 28 cold-related illness calls during last week's cold snap. That's according to Austin Travis County EMS. Of those, crews took 11 people to the hospital.
We never want to see those numbers, right? We want to see 0 hypothermia calls and 0 fatalities as a result for it.
The good news is EMS says nobody they checked out or transported to hospitals last week died. Meanwhile, Austin's Homeless Strategy Office says, with the exception of Monday, when the threshold for the shelters to open was not met, they provided nearly 2,000 shelter beds from Sunday evening to Saturday morning.
We had pretty high numbers all week, around 400 plus most of the nights.
With temperatures finally starting to feel like spring Monday, what comes next? While we're not out of the woods just yet, the City of Austin's Homeless Strategy Office says they are already thinking about changes that they could make to improve operations at their overnight cold weather shelters.
And we've talked about, like in April and May, really coming together with the city departments and talking about what worked, what didn't work, what can we change. And then we also really want to bring in the community and hear from them about what they're seeing, what worked and what didn't work, and what changes we can make.
The City of Austin already made significant changes going into the winter, including simplifying the threshold for those shelters to be activated and notifying people sooner. Grace Reader, KXAN News.
And one concern we have heard from Austinites is, why does everyone have to meet at the One Texas Center to be shuttled to shelter? Going in depth, the City of Austin says they don't always use the same recreation centers or city buildings to shelter people overnight, so they don't want people showing up to the wrong place. The city has talked about creating another embarkation point further north, but says it struggled to find a building that could temporarily hold or transfer hundreds of people on short notice.
Well, today the city of Georgetown launched Ask GTX. That's a new service that's similar to 311. The service will help residents find answers, report an issue, or connect with city services. The new Ask GTX contact center can be accessed through a website, a phone call, and there is an app that's coming soon.
All right, Nick, the people are happy with you this week.
I hope so. I mean, we deserve this, you know? I know we could always say that we need more rain, and we say that, but it's been lovely out this afternoon. Yesterday afternoon was nice. I think tomorrow afternoon is going to be great too. We do have to get through some potentially thick fog overnight and into the day here tomorrow, especially into tomorrow morning. Right now we've got a clear sky though from our Austonian weather camera, and really much of the state is clear. But notice what our computer models continue to suggest, and what we saw a little bit of this morning was the development of fog in some areas, and especially along and east of 35. I think the odds of fog are pretty good. Even west of 35 in portions of the metro, you may still get fog. I think fog would be much more limited in the hill country tomorrow if you get any at all. So that morning fog between, say, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 should start to leave us by late morning, and then through the afternoon, the sunshine and the lovely weather that you enjoyed today, you'll enjoy again tomorrow afternoon with temperatures in the 70s. comfortable, low humidity, even some 80s in spots. Then we go into Wednesday morning. I think the fog and low cloudiness may be a bit more expansive, so a cloudier start to the day Wednesday. May take a little longer before that fog lifts away. I think it will. And then we'll have more of a mix of sun and high clouds here Wednesday afternoon. This comes ahead of a cold front that drops in Thursday morning, and that cold front may help to squeeze out a couple of light raindrops or sprinkles and a lot of morning clouds Thursday. Not the fog variety necessarily, just a lot of low clouds. Then these clouds gradually break apart from north to south as we head through Thursday afternoon, but it may take some time before that sun comes out. Right now, temperatures across central Texas are mostly in the 50s, but we've got some low 60s out there too on what is a reasonably mild night. We do expect we'll drop down in the 40s here as we start off your day tomorrow. And then once the sun comes out, the temperatures will warm up in a hurry. Timing out when the sun comes out, that'll be different depending on where you are. Our eastern counties and parts of the metro may take some time. In the hill country, I think the sun comes out very early on here tomorrow, and then that's where the warmest of our temperatures should be with 80s there. For the majority of us, though, we get highs in the mid-70s, which is pretty close to where we were today. So we'll go with 75 and sun tomorrow afternoon once that morning fog lifts away. More clouds on Wednesday, but still a warm one, 76. This comes ahead of our next cold front, that Thursday morning front that brings a lot of clouds, but a little late day sun and a cooler day with a high of 69, which is still slightly above average this time of year. And there's that low 10% rain chance. Higher rain chances will wait until the weekend. And those rain chances start to pick up as we head through the day on Sunday. We could get some thunderstorms here, but we're thinking most of the rain will be light and just 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 inch for most of us. Although southwest of Austin, even less than that, less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. So it's not super promising for rain, but of course we'll continue to update you on the general trends as we get closer to it. By next Monday, a drier day, just a low 10% rain chance and still in the mid-70s.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm Levon Whitaker. And Texas women's basketball, this team right here in this monitor, they're one of the most unstoppable teams in the country. 10 straight games. They're on a winning streak. 4 of them against ranked opponents. Tonight, they faced the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens, Georgia. First quarter, Rory Harmon puts it up for 3 and makes it a 9-point lead for Texas. She also became the first player in program history with 1,200 points, 600 assists. In the second quarter, Flournoy would make it a 1-point Texas lead. Texas went on to lead the first half 20-16, and not the most impressive start to the game, but whatever Vic Schaefer said, it worked because Taylor Jones scored 6 straight points to start the second half. And then in the third quarter, Madison Booker not having her best shooting night in the game, but found a way to get in on the action despite the rough seas in this game. And at one point, the ladies went on a 13-0 run and came out on top 57-26 to extend their win streak to 11 games. Here's head coach Vic Schaefer after the game.
We always talk about defense traveling, and I thought our defense was really special tonight. I thought we had our 3 guards, Booker and Rory and Shea, and then anybody we brought in really did a nice job. Jakalinga played really well defensively too, so I'm proud of our defense. It was elite. You can't lose a gasket. You got to stay in the moment. You got to get those kids home. That's my job, and I thought they really responded in the second half.
Well, listen, the women's basketball team, they'll be back in action on the road at Mississippi State on Thursday. We got some time until football season is here, but the Longhorns have found their way to make headlines recently after canceling the spring game, losing their running backs coach Tashard Choice to the Detroit Pistons, and you can add defensive backs coach Terry Joseph to the list, joining the NFL as well. According to multiple reports, Joseph will join the New Orleans Saints as a defensive pass game coordinator. He was the cornerbacks coach for the Longhorns since 2021 after coaching at programs like Notre Dame and Texas A&M. And according to multiple reports, the vacancy is already being filled by Arizona Wildcats defensive back coach Dwayne Akina. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because Akina was with the Longhorns from 2001 to 2013. And earlier I talked about the ladies' 11-game win streak for the women's basketball team, but baseball has one of their own. 5 straight wins for the new head coach, Jim Schlossnagle, and his team, losing the first game of the season to Louisville and bouncing back since that time in Arlington. The Longhorns completed a 3-game series sweep against Dartmouth over the weekend in their home opener. It looked rough to start the first 2 games of the series, winning by only 1 run, but they went on to win Game 3, 4-1, and improve their season to 5-1. Here's head coach Jim Schlossnagle after the win.
First day that since the alumni game that it felt like a real game at Dish Fault, and I'm sure it will be even better than that. But good to see the sun come out. Good weekend. Certainly got a lot of things to work on and keep getting better as a team.
I mean, it was a great experience. Obviously, being here at Dish Fault Stadium is definitely like a dream of mine. I grew up a Texas fan from Dallas, and I mean, I came to games when I was little. Always wanted to be a Longhorn. Now that's finally here, like it's a real moment for me.
And they'll be back in action on Tuesday at 6:30. Be sure to check out more sports on KXAN.com.